Podcast City Network.
Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show. A shot of entertainment to the head. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Everett Lee Show podcast. I'm Everett Lee. Quick shout out to all my followers on Twitter. You can follow me at the Everett _Lee, Facebook.com/the Everett Lee. Click that thumbs up, and of course, PodcastCity.net, the official host of the Everett Lee Show, and many, many more podcasts that's not copyrighted. That's why I'm late tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, someone went after one of my people on Podcast City Network because of his show. And you know what? Fuck you. So anyway, let's move on to the program tonight. I want to give a shout out to the sponsors of Podcast City Network. Well, first, let's mention about the 1-year anniversary show. I'm looking at the graphic right there. Podcast City Network 1-year anniversary on January 26th from 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. $8 cover. City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida. Live music with the Craig Thomas Project. Food, drink specials, and much, much more with live shows from the Everett Lee Show, Super Radio Brothers, Second Rounds Florida Edition, Deathmatch Russell Podcast, the Phoenix Gate Podcast, and much, much more on Podcast City Network. And I want to give a shout out to, if I could find it right here. I am so pissed off, ladies and gentlemen. I am so pissed off right now. Just bear with me right here. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors right here. Kentucky's Own Wrestling. Head over to Facebook.com on Kentucky's Own Wrestling and check out the latest happenings with the promotion on Facebook. Sports Sanity Customs. If you want a Podcast City Network t-shirt, head over to sportsanitycustoms.com and get that podcastcity.net t-shirt. And if you're looking to book that destination to get away from it all, Telltale Travel on the sponsor section on podcastcity.net. Hit up Brittany Emler. She will book that destination to get away from it all. And this is all brought to you by podcastcity.net. Well, that laughter you heard in the background is my guest joining me tonight here on the program. I want to thank and welcome Chelsea Wolf of Bouncy Boxer Media and Hot Mess in a Wedding Dress, because I feel like a hot mess right now. She's an actress and film producer. What's up, Chelsea?
How's it going?
It could be going a lot better.
A glass of whiskey right now, Jesus.
I know. I am just, I'm aggravated with that, man, because for the fact that someone went after someone on my show because of the name of his show. Is it getting that bad now that people are getting too sensitive and hurt? You know.
I'm afraid, man. I mean, just hearing about, like, people are now going after Rudolph the Red-Nosed for bullying, and I'm like, what is going on, guys? It's Christmas.
I know.
I don't understand why people have to go after things anymore. Just enjoy the good and the bad and everything in between.
I know. Exactly. You know, I mean, at least, you know, hey, baby, at least it's not cold outside.
Well, it is today, actually.
Yeah, it is.
But what is in this drink?
What is in this drink?
Sorry.
No, that's cool. That is. Now, with it being cold outside and everything, where are you at tonight? Are you in Florida like I am in Daytona?
I am freezing in this, like, what is it, 70s, 60s outside right now, maybe a little bit cooler. I'm in Tampa area right now, so it's a little chilly outside, a little chillier than we're used to.
Yeah, that's over on the West Coast there. I've been over there a few times there over in Tampa, and I like it. I went over there to see events and just the St. Pete area, Tampa area is really nice.
Yeah.
It is. And
Yes.
of course, that's where Bouncy Boxer Media is at. You and you and Stefanie Davis and Lexi, you guys are over there on the West Coast.
Yeah, Bouncy Boxer. We have our office in St. Pete, Central St. Pete area. And we've been together now for, oh my gosh, 5 going on plus years. A couple of years now. Couple years. We're not gonna mention any more ages or numbers or anything else.
Wow, that's awesome. It is. Now, every person has a beginning, and where you're at right now, you've had quite a bit of journey to get where you're at right now. And one thing I want to start off with asking you some questions. I'm going to drill these questions at you tonight, but not literally.
Dun dun dun! I was going to say, like, is Halloween over, man?
Where did Chelsea Wolf grow up at?
I grew up in a small town in southeast Ohio, an Appalachian foothills area. So between Lancaster and Zanesville. So the town that I grew up in is called Glenford, and it has maybe, I'm being generous saying a couple hundred people, but honestly probably about 100, 150 or so. But very small town around Amish, and grew up there, graduated high school out there, and slowly made my way a few years later to get out of there and made my way to Cincinnati and slowly down to Florida.
Nice. I actually lived up in Cambridge.
Really?
Yeah. I actually graduated high school up there, and I'm not going to say my age, but 1998, I graduated and I got out.
Just a couple of years ago. I know. I started thinking about that too, and I was like, we'll just say a couple of years ago. Everything's a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. I was 16, and I ended up leaving Daytona Beach and moved up there with my mother, and I spent 5 years up there, finished high school up there, and I left and went to Tennessee and spent 11 years there with my father and made some really good friends, and it was good. And then 8 years ago, came back to Daytona, and I was about to leave. I'm like, why am I back here? I'm leaving. But that all changed when I met my wife. My wife.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she put the brakes on that, and I've been with her ever since. I mean, we've been together 8 years, married for 7, and we have a beautiful 1-year-old daughter. And
oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, and pretty much. I'm pretty much here now, stuck.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. Making the best of it. Making the best of it. But yeah, when you said Zanesville, I'm like, I know exactly where Zanesville is, because I used to go out there in the mall on the weekends to back when you actually had to buy music in the physical form with CDs and cassettes at the mall there, at the Disc Jockey and Camelot Music.
Yes. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Zanesville Mall was great, man. I mean, go in there on a Friday, go get some new music, and then head over to the movie theater right there, watch a movie, and then, back when
it was $1 to see the movies.
Oh yeah.
Too.
I know. That was great to see movies back when they were $1. And yeah, hell yeah, that was my favorite time there. Now, in high school and growing up, were you in any type of drama club in high school?
Oh man, I was. I was in my drama club. Surprise! And then I was also in show choir. Was the other one that I was in as well, which, if you're familiar with the TV series Glee,
yes,
that's it. That's what I used to do, is sing and dance. So
nice. You did quite a bit of numbers and theater and play.
Yeah, every year I made it a goal to do something different, to do the different plays and stuff. And being in that area, we did maybe 2 plays a year. I remember my senior year, we only did one. And it was, The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood. And I played the narrator because it should be about me. I was a senior, so of course.
Right.
I decided to go for the big role. It was a lot of fun. playing things like that. And show choir I did for all 4 years as well, was alto. And, did a lot of traveling with that too, which was a lot of fun.
Nice. That is. I think I did some kind of theater or musical in elementary school. Never did really pursue it in middle school and high school. I wish I did, but I mean, things wouldn't turn out the way they did for me. But I always say that it's one little regret. It's like, man, I wish I would have done something like that in high school and stuff, and I didn't. Did you go to college? Did you attend college anywhere?
I did. I bounced around from colleges. I found myself having a hard time pursuing what I wanted to do and finding a school that fit what I wanted to do. I originally went to school for veterinary science. So complete change of the career that I'm really in now. But the first school that I went to was called Hawking College, and I went for wildlife management there. Transferred out of there to a school in Ohio, Miami University, for zoology, and then I started to kind of realize that I couldn't handle full-time student status, and I was also interning, working, and volunteering. So I decided to finish up my degree online. So graduate with associates in veterinary science.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Pretty busy. Veterinary science. Well, my cousin, she's a vet, and I seen her last Christmas, and I brought my dog with me over to my aunt lives in Tampa. So took daughter, took dog, because we don't want to leave them alone for Christmas Eve, Christmas. So we took them, and my cousin from New York, she's a veterinarian up in New York. She came down, and she just gave it to me, like, for the fact that I haven't fixed my dog. she's like, you need to fix your dog. You haven't neutered
your dog.
No. I'm like, well, what if, I mean, I don't want to take that away. She just like it was growing up. I told her after she got done drilling me and embarrassing me in front of everybody, I said, you know what? It's been almost 20 years since we've seen each other. Nothing's changed, huh?
In fact, I'm going to take my dog to your vet on purpose now.
Yeah, I'm going to make a trip up to New York. I'm going to take a trip up there, and I'll let you do that. You explain to him. And speaking of moving around, you mentioned moving from Ohio to Florida. So what, in a way, made you pick Tampa out of coming to Florida? I mean, there's so many places here in Florida. You got Miami, you got Jacksonville, Tallahassee. You decided Tampa.
I know. I still wonder that too. No, I'm joking. I actually started in Miami for 2 years, and Miami's a lot coming from Appalachia.
Yeah.
So going there to hearing multiple languages at different times, and just a beautiful melting pot that this country is there, it was very overwhelming. And my family was kind of wanting me to come back up north. And I lived in Miami for 2 years. Goodness, I moved down there, I think, in 07.
Yeah.
07 or 08 area. And came up here around 2010, I believe. So I've lived up here for about 8 years. And it was just this one visit, and I just remember thinking, like, this is it. I got to move here. Just something about Tampa that reminded me of Midwest, but also having the luxuries of what Florida is about, being an hour drive to the beaches, to Orlando for touristy areas, and all the different museums and art places to go, and amphitheaters. It was just, there's something to do every weekend, I feel like, here. And that's what really got me thinking that this is it, and at least stay here for a little bit. It's an awesome chapter. So, yeah, maybe stay here for a little bit longer, maybe move out. I'm not sure yet.
There's always Tampa, like we were talking about before we went live, is Tampa. I mean, there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of stuff around there to actually, when I was talking with Stefanie Davis, there's a lot of good places to shoot movies and stuff and TV there because of the environment and what's there to offer. And I mentioned this to her before. One of my favorite movies was filmed in Tampa. I think it was 2004, 2005. It was Thomas Jane, The Punisher, with John Travolta.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was filmed there in Tampa. And when back in July 2014, my mind's like, July 2014. I haven't even been drinking yet, man. somewhere around there in 2014, July, me and my wife went to Tampa for a WWE pay-per-view, and we were staying there right next to where the arena where the Tampa Bay play hockey. And right there in our hotel there, I open up the windows, I open up the blinds, and right there I was like, oh man, no way. I took the camera out started taking a picture. My wife's like, what are you taking a picture of? I was like, that. And she's like, it's a bridge. I was like, yeah, but it's no fucking bridge. I was like, that is the bridge that Thomas Jane jumped. And in the movie The Punisher, man, he was driving in the chase scene. I was like, that's the fucking bridge. And she was like, okay, whatever, rolled her eyes and walked off. I got excited about it. So it's like, what'd you do in Tampa? I saw a wrestling pay-per-view, and I saw the bridge that Thomas Jane drove the car off in The Punisher. And they're like, okay. So I thought that was like great just to see that. Now, talking about acting and actors, come to find out, I was reading on your bio, and I thought this was really interesting because you are related to me and to people. When they hear this name, she's famous because she was on this TV show that I love watching called Bewitched when I was a kid, believe it or not. I watched it. You are the fourth cousin of Agnes Moorehead. When did you find out, and what age did you find out that you were related to Agnes Moorehead?
Found out a few years ago. No, joking. Actually, I was in 5th grade. I remember I was at, we were just moving out of another house to another, into an older farmhouse, and it was getting remodeled. Mm-hmm. And so we were staying in the rental house, and I remember watching an episode of Bewitched, and it was late at night, and my mom walked in the room, and I was expecting to change the channel or turn it off because it was time for bed, and she goes, oh, are you watching your cousin? And I just thought it was a joke at first, like, are we related to witches now all of a sudden? And she was like, no, your cousin's Agnes Moorehead on mom's side. And I remember asking my yaya, my grandma, about that, and she goes, yeah, we've only seen her a couple of times because she was always traveling, and I believe she grew up in Arizona, lived out there mostly. So she was only in Ohio for her earlier years and would perform at the local church and went to school out there. And then as soon as she could, she got out as well. So I was catching a theme with my artist history on that. So I was like, noted.
Nice.
Sort of a lot like Arizona, just not as humid. But it's close.
I have your cousin up on my computer screen right here. I'm going to screenshot it for those viewing in right now. This is Agnes Moorehead. I know everyone has seen her because I've seen her. I watch Bewitched, and I think that is awesome just to find out. It's like, wow. It's like I am related to someone. I mean, I loved her on Bewitched. She was just fantastic. Yeah. She was so fantastic on that show, and that's awesome. I'm like, that name sounds so familiar, and I looked into it, and I'm like, no way. That is cool.
And and I remember it was just, at that point, kind of inspiring to hear that someone in my family in that small town of Ohio was able to make it. And so I remember just keeping that in the back of my mind that, someone in my family was able to do what I want to do.
Right.
So I got to go for it. She's able to do it. I can do it too.
Yeah, you definitely can. So you leave Ohio. You come down to Florida, you're in Tampa, and how did you meet Stefanie Davis? How did that come about?
I met her and Lexi Balestrieri at the same time, actually, believe it or not.
No way.
Just a few years ago. About 5-6 years ago, I think it was probably it was just a few months before we really started Bouncy. And we were all taking the same acting class, and I remember one day we were just talking about how we were individually as artists frustrated that we weren't able to meet our potential, what we felt like we could do. We just wanted to do so much more. And I remember Stefanie just going, you know what, guys, let's make her own production. And I remember thinking that it was a crazy idea, and until she was group chatting us on Facebook and going, all right, what about these names for a production team? And she started kind of going for it and registered the name. And I was like, holy cow, we're doing this. What's our first baby? And she's like, it's going to be My Great Hell. And I was like, oh, okay. Catching a theme with this already.
Nice. Yeah, I have to bring this up, and I told Stefanie this, and if you caught the episode with Stefanie, the 2 episodes, it's still my favorite. I still love speed dating. I still love that short, man, because it's down stereotypical to who everyone is there in the room, and I love Lexi in it. She's fantastic. You're fantastic in it and stuff. I like that. I like the line in there where you tell Lexi, it's like, I'm going to punch you in the boobs, you know. I love that. That's freaking great.
If I hit him hard enough, it'll hold your dress up.
I love that. And I was looking at your demo reel there, and I was laughing at the one. I got to look it up and find out which one it is, where the guy's telling a story, and he's talking. He's like, "Yeah, she's coming at me like this and that," and you're sitting there, you're all maked up and stuff. It's like,
yes,
that was hilarious.
Yes. That was a new film I just did. We just shot that back in the fall, and so it's still making festival rounds. It's actually going to be at Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Called Bagman.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I got the call, he was like, how do you feel about playing a homeless woman? And I asked him, was he implying something? Like, how far of a stretch do you want me to look like a homeless woman? Or are you saying I already do?
Right.
And so I was kind of a little confused, but rolled with it, you know, as actors do. And so he told me he just wanted me to look as dirty as possible. And for those shots, I was eating straight cocoa powder and like anything chocolate, just to dirty up my teeth. And we teased the hair, put leaves in it. I told him, I was like, I was cool with whatever they wanted to do to make me look as bad as possible, but good at looking bad.
Right. Yeah, you definitely did, man, because it's really, really quick, the motion stuff, though. But when you have that moment where you're talking and the guy's doing the voiceover, you could see it. You're just like, wow. And what I've noticed a lot from what I've seen that you've done, you do a lot of comedy. And I did see the serious stuff that you've done, but I just want to throw this in here. What do you feel more comfortable doing? Serious drama or comedy?
Comedy.
Comedy.
Definitely comedy. That was one of the reasons when we started Bouncy, because there's a lot of horror and drama and action, and I was like, there's really not much comedy. And I think what I love about it the most is it's just so subjective. Not everyone's going to find what you find funny.
Right.
And so it's just interesting to see what works and what doesn't, and trying different jokes and different behaviors, and seeing what works, and just, you know, getting people that escape of just being happy for those few moments, especially, you know, these last few years. I feel like, you know, things have just been crazy in everyone's life. And, you know, if you're able to go to a comedy block film festival and just for 30, 45 minutes, forget about your problems, I think, you know, there's no price on that. And just to be able to bring that joy to people is really awesome.
Yeah.
So I definitely push for comedy, but I do like to surprise people and do some of the drama and other action crazy stuff there too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one thing that Stefanie Davis did say is, yeah, there's quite a bit of horror and drama in Tampa, and there's not really much comedy. So instead of falling in line with what everything else is doing there, it's like, just let's do this and let's just do comedy, because that's what we enjoy doing. And that's one thing I love about indie film directors and just indie films in general, is the fact that you can tell when someone's passionate about the work that they do, and it shows on film, and you just love and do what you love to do. If that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta just go in there and just give it your best and show people what you have and have a good time with it. And that's
Exactly.
That's what I love about. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's just following your passion because, as you said, too, just following in line with everything else, you'll still, you're still doing what you love, but you just don't feel fulfilled. And so as artists, at times you just kind of, you get caught in this, like, not really a depressive mentality, but at the same time, you're just like, why am I not happy acting when I love acting? What's going on? And then when you're able to express and do what you want to do in that style, it's just, there's no other feeling or way to describe that. So I'm very fortunate to have not only be able to do that, but to have a group of friends that we all support each other and believe and we find each other funny.
I absolutely do. I think everyone, you, Stefanie, and Lexi, you are fantastic at what you do, and it shows. It definitely does show with everything that I've seen so far with Bouncy Boxer Media. I can say that without tongue twisting it. When Stefanie's on there on here, I'm like, the
Bouncy Box. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's
like she says,
boxers? What just happened?
She says, say that 3 times fast. Now, speaking of Stefanie and Lexi, what's it like working right beside them? How's that chemistry? How's that go working with the 2 really good friends as Stefanie and Lexi? How's that go? How's that work?
Oh my God, I truly cannot express how fortunate I am to have them in my life in general. Not just like in the film world, but in personal aspects, because we've all gone through a lot personally and professionally since we started Bouncy. And so it's nice to have them too, because they know what's going on personally. So if you're on set and you just kind of give them the heads up, like, hey, this is going on in my life right now. If you're noticing me not being in character, like, let's make a code word, give me a few moments to kind of like get away for a moment, get back into character, come back into it. Without having to make a scene or what's the word I'm looking for? Jeopardize your character as a professional, too. And so being able to work with them, it's especially, oh my gosh, we've done so many projects now, and I feel like the last one that we did, Hot Mess and a Wedding Dress, not many words had to be said, which was nice, that we could just kind of give each other a look and know when we need to go and step up our game without giving, the bitch face, or just do anything else. You could just kind of give this look and be like, okay, just going to step away. I'm going to eat something because I'm getting hangry, or just need to pet this dog because it's right there and it's looking at me, and I just need 2 minutes to just tell it it's a good boy and just fulfill my life destiny at this moment. But I mean, truly, of all honesty, I couldn't have asked for better friends in my life right now, but with Stefanie and Lexi. That is
awesome. It's really good to have really good friends that you can laugh and cut up with and still, get and put out content and work. And that's one thing I like about with me and Chris Carnage do at Podcast City Network. We have a great group of individuals that have and bring different variety to the table to form a network and have a platform to get their voice out there. And developing a platform and getting your voice out there and having people notice, that's really good, because when people start noticing and wanting to know more and more, then it's like, yeah, this is paying off, and it's going in the direction that I planned on going, and can't wait to see what's next, because every day is something new and exciting.
Exactly. It's like every year something amazing has happened for all of us, and it's like when one of us succeeds, the 3 of us succeed, and I really love that we're able to still do our own thing, but still come back together and make the quality and the vision that we want to do for Bouncy as well.
Mm-hmm. You've been nominated for Best Local Actress for the Creative Loafing's Best of the Bay in 2015, 2016, and 2017.
Yes.
Getting nominated, how does that make you feel? How do you feel about it?
Oh my gosh. I'm always very fortunate when I hear the nominations for that, because it's by people putting your name on the register, basically, and being able to vote that way. So it's one of those when somebody says, "Hey, you're nominated," I'm like, "And what? Who's heard of me?" Thanks, Mom. But no, I'm always so very fortunate to see that, especially when your community stands behind you and wants to see you do good things and believe that you are doing it too. It's awesome.
That is that. When I seen that right there, when I was looking up stuff on you, doing my research, I was like, wow, that is neat. Because yeah, when with you being part of Bouncy Boxer Media, and that right there, you know, putting eyes on you, that puts eyes on the company and what you do with that media.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic. And with Hot Mess and a Wedding Dress, that right there, I talked to Stefanie about it because it was based off, some of it was based off I Now Pronounce You, but she was telling me about the dress, and she was telling me what she did with that, and I was like amazed by it. How has it been for you working on Hot Mess and a Wedding Dress? How's that been for you as an actress?
Oh, as an actress, this was our first feature, our first big baby. Wow, it was. We've definitely had some things tossed at us, filming production wise, but as an actor, it was a lot of fun because, especially with Stefanie, I always ask her permission to do improv in certain scenes. Like, you know, I'll feel comfortable with these lines, but I kind of want to toss my own thing. And I always want to ask her, since she'll edit, how comfortable she is with me kind of going, still on the subject, but just kind of improving it. And she loves it and allows us. And I'm very fortunate for that, because as soon as she gives me permission to kind of do my own thing, that's where majority of the craziness will start to happen. Like in Speed Dating, a lot of that was improv too.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the first headache monster of trying to match sound and the video together and making sure the scenes all worked out. But man, Hot Mess was a lot of fun. We filmed mostly at the house for my character scenes. And just hanging out with the girls, and we were drinking wine, and not always, because, you know, that's a long day of shoot, so you can't drink the whole time. That's dedication if you can.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you're able to be on set with not only, you know, two of your best friends, but I mean, everybody on that set I was friends with in general too. So it was, you know, just having a house of everybody that loves to do the film industry, and everyone has a great sense of humor, but we can all work and know when it's time to work and time to play and stay on track of time as best as we can. And we were pretty successful on most days, if I'm not mistaken. So
that is awesome. That is, I'm looking right now at the YouTube page. You guys have really like update it, keep it up to date, and I can't believe like the content and stuff I can find on there. And I mentioned this to Stefanie. I could go on there and I could always find something to look at and to watch and just to see. And I did watch that Raining Cats and Dogs, the little short that you did there. And I was cracking up because this was funny, and I kid you not, when I Googled your name and when I put in a Bouncy Boxer Media behind it, the first thing that popped up was the video of the behind the scene of you sitting there with the wine glass. I kid you not, man. I kid you not. I saw that. I was like, man, this is some funny shit, man, right here.
I am honored that when my name and Bouncy Boxer are tied together,
yeah.
It is with wine.
Yeah, it popped right up, and just sitting there, I was like, what's this behind the scenes? And there you are, you're sitting there twirling the glass with wine in it. I forget what you say off the top of my head, but it was something funny. It was like real short. It was like a 10-second clip, and I'm like, So I played it again real quick, and I just started laughing. I was like, man, this is funny. And one thing I did like about your demo reel when I was watching that, it was when you were playing the psychic, and you're sitting there doing the and you're sitting there drinking the glass. I was laughing because I'm like, she loves doing comedy, and she's naturally funny. She is. You're naturally funny. And
thank you.
I just wonder. I wonder in between takes there if you are you the one that usually plays a prank on someone, or you do something just to make someone smile.
Sometimes. I don't like tension, so I will literally start tap dancing if I have to get people to just kind of stop and look, and I'll play I Spy. One of my other favorite questions is, so how is everyone, especially in a stressful situation? But yeah, I'm definitely the one that jokes around. That actually, the sidekick scene, that was improv. Yeah. And I remember when I didn't tell anybody I was going to drink out of the wine when I was filming it. And I remember so many people were starting to laugh, and that's the first take we couldn't use because you could hear people laughing. So I always get like that little yes. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm sorry, Stefanie. She'll be like, that's such a good take. I'll be like, I'll do it again. I promise it'll be just as good as new. So, love you, Stefanie.
I guess she's on Twitch right now. I'm looking at the chat here. Of course, David Russell from Deathmatch Russell Podcast on Podcasting Network. Shout out to him viewing right now. And Bouncy Boxer Media, we love comedy. Shout out to Stefanie Davis there viewing right now. And one other thing I like about the demo reel I was watching was the great debate, the great boob debate. And that line, it's like, look at your nipples, man. They're so hard right now they can open up cans of tuna.
It's a tuna. You could almost hear the sizzle if it was like a can of soda too, just like it's almost as cold right now for that too. Jeez.
Wow. It is that it's just so great, man, because I just love everything that you all do, you, Stefanie, and Lexi. I got to get Lexi on here now. I had Stefanie on here twice. I got you. Now I got to get Lexi on here because.
Yes.
But I was sitting there thinking to myself, it's like, if I get Lexi, then I was like, what would it be like if I had all three of them on at the same time? I'm like, how well would that go?
we would probably just start like looking at each other, do like a spin the bottle, who's going to answer. Just like, oh, I got
this. Wow. Yeah, I just love just everything that's going on, and I love how the social media I've told Stefanie this. Yep, she says right now in the chat. This is what she says here. She says, you are hearing pure Chelsea right now. We love her. And
Aww.
She said, yes, bring Lexi.
Yes, Lexi has so many awesome things going on right now, too. So she's definitely worth talking to. She's nominated right now. She just directed a feature film, and it's screening this weekend, too, Providence 404. And she's nominated for Best Director. So they have, I think, 4 nominations for their feature. So I'm really excited and proud for her, and hopefully going to try to make it. I believe it's Saturday is the screening for the Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival for that one.
Yeah, I seen that up on Twitter there. I believe it was on Twitter. I was going through looking at the Bouncy Boxer Media on Twitter, or Stefanie put it out there, and I seen that. I was like, wow, that's nice. And she pretty much mentioned another tweet. I forget which account it comes from, because it all comes when I'm going through my feeds on social media. She mentioned about having films spread out for this year and for next year for projects,
yes.
which is pretty neat, instead of having just, I guess I'm assuming all on one. It's spread out to different festivals and stuff. And I asked her the last time I had her on, I said, what's it like for you? I asked what it was like for her, but for you, going out to these film festivals and meet and greeting people, how is that for you? You get to meet different people that is passionate and dedicated indie filmmakers as yourself, and actors and actresses. How's that?
I love it. I'm very much, when I go to those kind of gatherings, a social butterfly, and just I in general love to meet new people and get to know them. That's why I do a lot of traveling myself personally. I like to go to different areas, get to know what it's about, and try to kind of get off that known path and go off to the beaten path. And so when I'm at film festivals, I try to go to people that are by themselves at first, just to kind of be like, are you just socially awkward like me, or you just want to be on your phone, Facebook, and Twittering, and start to kind of talk to people that way, just to get them out of their shell, because it's kind of what we do, especially if you're not in the mood to talk and see other people. If, you just go back to your 4-year-old basic making friends 101 and just go up to somebody and go, I like your shoes. And they go, thanks, and then you become friends.
Nice. Did you happen to catch the Captain Marvel trailer, the second trailer? Or actually, are you a fan of the Marvel DC superhero movies? Do you like watching those?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
You do.
Yes. Definitely.
Which is your favorite in the Marvel universe? Who would be your favorite in the MCU?
To pick a heaven out of the stars out of the heaven right there. I love them all for different reasons.
Right.
I do love Captain America and Iron Man, especially Iron Man, because he started it and kind of, set us up for what Marvel films are going to be like in cinemas.
Right.
And just to take that risk of going to more of a nerd film like that, and, it being such a huge success, and hearing that these actors were going to, keep playing their roles, was really an exciting thing, because, we've only had Lord of the Rings, really before that, and a couple other films that were, 1, 2, 3 piece kind of deals. But to hear that's going to be, when you saw the timeline of all the Marvel films, and just kind of thought to yourself, like, they're under contract for how many years? Holy cow. You can't do anything crazy with your face or your hair, or can't, go to too many Thanksgiving dinners for the next 15 years. That's not cool. But I think I would more of a Marvel. As much as I love DC, I think DC has been doing a lot of great things, especially Wonder Woman. That film, I don't think women in film can really thank enough for what it's done in setting the bar and bringing so many jobs to that film too.
Oh yeah.
And then there's also, Aquaman coming out for Christmas, and I'm excited for that one too. He's very talented, so can't wait to see Jason Momoa, perform in Aquaman.
Yeah. So let me just ask the obvious one, because I asked my wife this and she gave me the answer. I'll tell you the answer she gave me after I asked you.
Oh no!
Do you think? Do you think Jason is hot?
He's okay. He's got that father bod going.
Yeah. I gotta ask the cheesy questions, man, because if I don't ask at least one cheesy question when you walk away tonight, you're like, "Yeah, I talked about hot mess in a wedding dress, Bouncy Boxer Media, and I was asked if Jason was hot."
He was the only man that could hold that title of Aquaman. I'm not even going to go there. What's his rating on the show again?
Mature. It's mature.
Perfect.
Yeah. I feel bad because I didn't realize that when I was going back editing on the channel here and looking at stuff, and I wasn't logged in, and it's like it wouldn't let me view the channel. It said this is a channel is for mature audience, and I was like, shit. I was like, because Stefanie asked us, like, if she wanted to drop some F-bombs. I'm like, well, I don't know. But next time Stefanie comes on, let's see how many F-bombs you can get her to drop.
Challenge accepted.
Yes.
I'll improv a song.
Yeah, I didn't know that until Chris told me. It's like, yeah, we got to sit we're mature. I was like, I thought we didn't because, with being trying to, develop that partnership with Twitch. Oh, no, we're mature. I'm like, well, no shit. Fuck.
You fucking kidding? This whole time?
Yeah, so I was sitting there, I was like, damn. But Captain Marvel, are you excited as I am? Because I'm really excited about this character because I talked with Stefanie last time I had her on, and I love Brie Larson. I loved her in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and her playing Cara Danvers, Captain Marvel. How do you feel about this coming out next year?
Oh my gosh. I'm definitely I'm stoked. I've been watching the trailers for it as well, and I'm definitely excited after having seen Wonder Woman in the DC universe and what that's done. Just bringing the strong woman, and she's kind of just setting that bar. And so with Captain Marvel, I'm scared because I have read some of the comics, and I have a couple other friends that are diehard comics, and so we've been discussing her character and her as an actor as well, what she's going to bring to the table. And I'm really excited, but at the same time, I'm going to be bringing a box of tissues, man. I'm not going to lie. When I see her, and then also when we see the continuance of it all.
Yes.
Not too long after that, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be good.
It is. It definitely is. I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to see his story because someone asked me the other day. They said, how come no one's mentioned Captain Marvel before in the movies? I said, well, you got to realize this is set in the 90s. If the beginning of the trailer didn't tell you, explain her falling into a Blockbuster video, then you've been living underneath a rock, man. And also, it will explain where she's been and what she's been doing all this time. And at that precise moment, because you did catch Infinity Wars, and you did see the end-credit scene with Samuel Jackson. Everyone in the theater was laughing because right before you get those last words out, everyone was like laughing when I went and seen it. But of course, that symbol there, I had a friend ask me, he's like, what's that symbol? I was like, Captain Marvel. She's going to come and whip Thanos' ass, man. Believe it or not.
Exactly. You got to send a woman to do the job, Sometimes you just got to have her come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw that trailer, especially when you mentioned Blockbuster, fun fact, I actually worked for Blockbuster for a few years. It was probably one of my favorite jobs that I ever did. Because you could get 10 free rentals a week, and before they took the dive, they actually would pay for your college up to a master's, no matter your degree. So that's actually how I ended up with my veterinary science.
Really?
Thanks to Blockbuster, actually. So thanks for going under for my education, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why they went under. They paid for Chelsea Wolf's education, and they took a plum. Wow, I didn't know that, man. That's neat. That's fascinating. And look, all right, I got to ask you, since you brought up Blockbuster, okay, now working behind the counter there, did you had your typical normal customers come in, and of course you'd have your weird out there customers and your annoying customers, did you not? Yes, you did.
I may have been alongside some of the weird ones, because especially there for a few years, we were advertising PlayStation 3 because it had the Blu-ray capabilities, plus you could also play games on it.
Yes.
And one of the games they really wanted us to advertise for a while there was God of War. Yes. And that has to be one of my favorite games. And so you get paid to play that video game, let alone having people come in and you could actually tell them to get out of the way so you could play your game, so they could ask questions what you're doing, and then you can hand them the controller to play. And so I was part of that nerd group.
Nice. So you're a gamer.
The ones that Yeah. So if one of the people came in with a coupon, they were not my people. And they usually wanted to speak to a manager, which sadly was me. And so that would interrupt my gaming.
Yeah, I got a question about this video right here. Leave me alone. I'm playing.
Give me like 2 minutes. Wait for me to pause, okay?
Yeah. I'm in the boss battle right now. Come back when I beat him. There's no save point, so you're just gonna sit there and watch me have fun.
Yes. What's so hard about that? Jeez.
And then of course you're sitting there playing, and you got the little kid coming up trying to grab a controller. You're like, no, mine. You're smacking him.
I'll put in a kid's game in a moment.
You can play Crash Bandicoot later.
Exactly. Well, little Billy, I guess it's time for you to learn what fighting is all about.
Yeah. It is funny you brought up God of War. A friend of mine let me borrow God of War for PS4, and I was sitting here playing it one day. He let me borrow it about 3 months ago, and I've basically made it to the point where I can pick where I needed it to go. That's how much time I had to play. He's like, yeah, just hang on to it. I've already beat it. Let's see how far you get. I'm like...
Oh man!
So
I've only played it a couple of times myself on that one. I usually get distracted because of the graphics and that thing. That was worth the wait. Seeing the new God of War there.
Oh God, it's fantastic. I was sitting there playing it one day, and I had my daughter run around, and she's at the point where when she sees something, she goes "Whoa!" or "Ooh!" And I'm sitting there killing some people, and blood's all falling, and I'm sitting there fighting someone. I'm smashing her head. She walks up, she's like, "Daddy, whoa!" And she got scared, and she took off. She hauled ass around the corner. I was like, whoops. You know? Yeah. So I was like, wow, all right, I gotta stop playing.
It's just like picking apples off a tree, kid. You just twist and snap. It's fine.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the Ohioan coming out of me on that one.
Wow. Damn. Crazy. You're a handful, man. I feel. Let me just ask you. Is there anyone in your life right now?
Ooh, I mean, I'm talking to a couple people right now. I've been through a lot this past year. There is like one in particular that I'm talking to a little bit more, but I'm not tied down right now. I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things, I guess, and getting more focused on the career, because that definitely needs to be the prime focus for 2019 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was like, you are a handful. I don't know how, because, I mean, and that's in a good way. That's actually in a good way. What I'm saying, nothing bad, nothing, because you sound like you like to have fun, and you're passionate about everything that you do with acting to helping behind the scenes with Bouncy Boxer Media, and it's fantastic. And it's like didn't know if you had a boyfriend. I was like, what does your boyfriend think of you sometimes? Does he like just roll with it, or just like it's like Chelsea?
It's probably why they come up to me and then they're like, and then I'm like, I'll just go back to my Chihuahua and cry in my Prius. It's fine. Strong, independent woman just eating ice cream. It's fine.
Wow. And since you brought up 2019, I want to know, what can people expect from Chelsea Wolf in 2019?
I'm definitely going to be focused more on voiceover right now at this time, starting up my own studio at my place. So, yeah, just to kind of make those little, auditions and kind of stay at home and be a good pet parent to my dog and cat. Mm-hmm. But we have some projects lined up, definitely going to be hitting more of the film festivals to advertise for Bouncy and our projects and kind of see what else is out there and just kind of explore. There's a couple of things in the works right now that we've all been talking about, but as she had said before too, just more advertising what we can do and focus as well on our production. We've been doing a lot of demo reels and demo reel edits, and gotta do a quick plug. If you buy a demo, you get a half off on your second one for actors. So especially because the pilot season is upon us, that deal is going on this month. So yeah.
Nice. That is awesome. I see that up on the social media there, and I see it on Facebook and on Twitter there, that with Bouncy Boxer Media doing deals and stuff, and that's cool to know. That is, I like that. I do like that.
Yeah, we try to stay local when we can, because especially Stefanie, she likes to travel a lot as myself.
Yes.
So it's one, if we can kind of stay home more and get to work on our craft that way, we're all about that. So, but don't get us wrong, we do love to travel, but it's nice to kind of stay still for a little bit.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And where can people find you on social media and all that good stuff there out in the Twitter and Facebook? Sound like Ice Cube there, the Twittersphere. Where can people find Chelsea Wolf on the Twittersphere?
This almost sounds like a National Geographic. Like, where can we find you in the wild? It's like, well, my habitat is mostly in the kitchen, eating snacks. But no, you can on Facebook. I'm under the Chelsea Wolf, as well as on Instagram. And then Twitter, I think it's just Chelsea Wolf, with the S and the letter C instead of SEA for Chelsea. But yeah, I'm mostly on the Instagram and the Facebooks and the Twitter tweeter twat things. So yeah.
Nice. I definitely want to thank you for coming on and taking time out tonight and coming on and having a good time and chatting, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you so very much. It's so good to talk to you finally and to hear your voice. So, you know.
You're welcome.
Just like Jason Momoa, man.
There's only one problem. Jason looks better in spandex than I do. Yeah, as soon as my wife is like, yeah, Jason's hot, it's like I ran in the other room. It's like push-ups, 1, 2, 3, 4, sit-ups.
Trying to do the anchor man. Oh, I don't know if you heard me counting. I did over 1,000.
Why y'all sweaty? I was watching Cops.
Cops on till 4, man. Oh, it's a good movie.
That is. Before I close out on this podcast, I want to mention the remaining sponsors of Podcasting Network before I went into a rant about what happened last night. The reason why I started a little bit late tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to jump on here real quick and mention more sponsors that you can check out on podcastcity.net. You can head over to City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida, home of Draft Day and the 1-year anniversary for Podcast City Network. They have a wide selection of indoor and outdoor TV for sporting events, pool tables, dartboards, food menu, beer on tap. On the food menu, the grilled cheese is excellent, and stage Outback for live concert events. All there at City Limits Tap Room in DeLand, Florida. And Atlantic Sounds in Daytona Beach, Florida. If you're looking for that vinyl, cassette, or CD that may have slipped through your fingers, they may have it. So hit them up on Facebook, Atlantic Sound Records. They're based off of International Boulevard in Daytona Beach, Florida. And this is all brought to you by podcastcity.net, where you can check out shows such as the Everett Show, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, Paranormal. Well, actually, not the Paranormal anymore. We'll say Robin Nelson Files 13. Damn, I got to break my habit of that.
I was like,
God dang it. Fucking people. And Wrestle Popcast and the second round's New York and Florida edition, the Phoenix Gate podcast, and much, much more around podcastcity.net. And that is it for the Everett Lee Show. I'm going to hit my outro music. And I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, tune in tomorrow night for a special episode of the Everett Lee Show. I will have guest Big Facts, wrestling tag team from EHF. I will see you tomorrow night. Thanks again, Chelsea, for coming on.
Oh, thank you again, man.
No problem. And I'll see everyone tomorrow night here on twitch.tv/Podcast City Network for another episode of the Everett Lee Show. Peace.